Hi, it's Shanice Dawkins of InHerWork.co, author, speaker, coach, former military personnel, and mental health and domestic violence advocate. In this video today, I'm going to be teaching you how to stand out in your specific industry in a tactical and concise way. Specifically, if you've been struggling with trying to fit in or what creative direction you want to go in, this is the video for you. So before we talk about what you should do when answering this question, let's talk about what you shouldn't do first. Number one, you shouldn't start a business or go towards your passion because it's easy or because you feel like you can't work a 9 to 5. And also because you just want to make an impact without being willing to do the actual inner work, physical work, and what it takes to actually create and build your legacy, build your empire, build your business up. Number two, you should not say things that express negativity towards other industries, because it will characterize you as someone who's bitter and negative, and they will no longer want to collaborate with you. Understanding that in business and understanding that knowing that you need to separate personal and business is key across all boards. And if you're not willing to pay, invest, compete, or collaborate, it just makes you look like you are not willing to step up to the plate and be that leader that you're called to be in this specific industry. Number three, you should not accept every opportunity. Not all opportunities are beneficial because they're not aligned with your mission and your core values. You will hear me talk about that a lot, where every opportunity that comes across your table, that comes across your email, that and every person that you come across, sometimes they're just not aligned with you, and that's okay. It's okay to give up other opportunities to other people because it's more fit, it's more aligned with what their core values, their mission, their target market, and the people that they want to pour into. It's more aligned with them. And also, lastly, you should not be late, plagiarize, or take anything personal in business. And I feel like that is key all across the board as well. So, all right, now that we've talked about what you shouldn't do, let's talk about what you should do. Number one, you should always do what makes you happy while expressing your most authentic self. I cannot tell you time and time again what it means to actually be an individual in these specific industries, especially the coaching industry. A lot of the times we want, the same background, the same overlay, this amount of followers, this amount of impact, this amount of money, from 6 figures to 7 figures, and we're not really expressing ourselves. We're not really being vulnerable. We're not really taking the time to go through the process per se, and build, obtain, sustain, maintain, and fail, and create something new, pivot, change, collaborate with someone else. It's so much that goes into business, and if you are just willing to understand, to not take it personal, everybody wins in the end. And I cannot tell you and stress enough how being on time is such key. It's, if you're late, it's not a good look. If you plagiarize, you don't reference, you don't give credit to, and you're constantly just in this fight or flight mode of, I feel like I got to keep up with this person, or their content, or their impact, or their speaker kit, or this and that. You will always be chasing the next and not being your true authentic self, and not giving and pouring into your audience as they see you, and how they actually can overcome in a better way, and they actually can progress much faster because they actually see your pitfalls, they actually see your failures, they actually see your wins, they actually see what you go through day in and day out, from a day-to-day basis. So again, just want to always stress that it's important to look at how you're showing up, for yourself, how you're taking care of yourself personally and professionally. So let's go into number two. So number two is, you should always build and foster relationships, join emotional support groups, seek therapy, get a mentor, get a business or financial coach, develop new friendships. Because it's so, again, so much that goes into business, as far as the aspect of how businesses change, so fast and just very rapidly, and to being able to be, flexible, being able to adapt, being able to have diversity in your team, being able to praise your employees, being able to know when to say, okay, it's time to let something go. It's time to pivot and go in another direction, and being okay with that, and understanding that things change, people change, seasons change, businesses change, and we can create them, we can sell them, and we can keep it, and we can keep, the business afloat, and, keep it going and moving forward to where, that legacy is still in our family name, that legacy is still, thriving, but we want to get the right people in the right spaces. That way, it can move in the way that it needs to move. So that leads me into going into step number 3, which is getting out of your comfort zone. You're going to be able to understand in business that, um, everything that you do is out of your comfort zone. If you have been in a type of community where you've always done things a certain way, if you've always went to bed at a certain time, or in your community, in your culture, you always communicated a certain way, you're going to have to unlearn, to relearn, and continue to do that, and continue to update your mindset, your boundaries, and again, going back to into step number 2, which is developing a different circle, developing a different type of um, culture, a new attitude, a new morale in the way you do business. And the way we operate business is not the same as we did in the 90s, and having to be able to continue to always evolve, learn, grow, having that growth mindset. It will take you a lot further in your business than wanting to wear the hats all the time, knowing when to delegate, knowing when to say you need help, you need the extra set of hands, you need to, you know, minimize, maximize your time, go to the next step. And again, that brings us all the way around where it talks about consistency and discipline, where we are sometimes we're not seeing results. Sometimes we have to again go back to our mission, our core values, our vision, and our why, and to why and how we started this business. So I wanted to kind of take you through 3 specific scenarios, and I'll guide you in each different situation that I've kind of experienced over the time of just, working with different people and personally myself. So let's start with the question. Let's pose the question. Do you know that there are 3 or more types of women with this specific mindset? So in scenario number 1, y'all, um, this particular woman has an unlimited amount of ideas to start a business, maintain the overhead, and take action. But she gets stuck in the cycle of analysis paralysis to the point where she doesn't take immediate action on her dreams. Therefore, excuse me, she stays complacent and becomes envious of other people's journey before even seeing the results of her own achievements. Aha, see, we're talking about the results, right? So I'll give you 3 multiple choice. A is I don't know where to start. B is I don't know how to start. And C is I don't have a sufficient amount of funds. So again, let's take into account that this woman, she's fresh out of college. She is, ready to take on the world, but she doesn't know where to start. She doesn't know if she wants to write a book. She doesn't know if she wants to produce a play. She doesn't know if she wants to do her makeup line. She just has so many ideas, but she's not taking action, which leaves us to, again, where we are going back in the should nots. We should not be trying to fit in. We should, in our shoulds, we should be trying to express our authentic self and taking that time to do our own market research to, again, perfect our craft, continuously evolve in what we want to do. So again, who are you in that specific scenario? Do you not know where to start? Do you not know how to start? Do you not have the sufficient amount of funds to where it's like, I'm just not going to take action at all because it just looks too, it looks like too much. I have to ask ourselves, why are we getting into business? A lot of the times people just look at social media and think, that yeah, I have 10 million followers, 10,000 followers, but I'm making a lot of money. But in reality, what we see when we get really transparent and we get really vulnerable is that people are, faking the funk. And for me, in my journey, I don't like to fake the funk. I took the road less traveled, and I continue to make an impact. I continue to also make money as well. But again, you have to go back to in that mindset of is this something that you really want to do? Why do you want to do it? Who do you want to impact? And how are we going to do that? What type of strategy are we going to put in place moving forward so we can get the dream out of our head and to actual reality. So now that we've described in scenario number one, I just want you to take a moment and say, is that me? And what does that look like? Because there's so many of us that are, just we don't know where to start, or we tried this or we tried that, and sometimes we're not really happy in what we're doing. So I just want you to take a minute to really see in your mindset, are you this type of woman? Okay, so I'll give you a minute to go over that, and because I know it was a lot, it was definitely a lot to go through, so I'll give you a minute. As you're going through that, I want you to kind of visualize what it would actually be like in your ideal life of you actually having the resources, you having the right people in place to delegate and get your dream off the ground. What that looks like. What does your ideal life look like for you right now? If you took action, if you got out of your comfort zone, if you didn't do what everybody else did, if you didn't pay attention to what everybody else was paying attention to, and you were just tunnel vision, continuously wanting to grow, evolve, and stay committed to the process, stay committed to yourself. What does that look like for you? All right, so let's shift into scenario two. So scenario two, I'm going to give you a little bit more y'all. Let's stay with me. I know we've been on here for some time, but just stay with me. Okay, so in scenario two, this particular woman has an unlimited amount of ideas to start a business, maintain the overhead, and take action. Let's say, for example, she has $1,000 to invest in her cosmetics line, but the investors and distribution process is asking for $3,000 to $5,000. She hesitates and stops in her tracks and doesn't ask for the help or resources in order for it to launch. Therefore, she lacks the ability to negotiate and begin distributing her project and collaborating with other like-minded individuals. What do you think about that? That's a lot of, chunks to take away just from that particular scenario. So again, I'm going to give you the same choices. I don't know where to start. I don't know how to start. I don't have sufficient amount of funds to start. So again, now in her mindset, she still has a lot of different ideas. She has, a portion of the funding, but she's not willing to negotiate. She's not willing to get out of her comfort zone and say, what, I have this amount. Can you work with me on this? What if I do this for you? Can we do a trial and error? Can we do like just to test the market to see where we are with this specific cosmetics line? So a lot of the times where the setback and the disappointment comes in is because we feel like we have the funds, but then we get scared to ask that particular person on the other end, which is, an approver, a lender, someone who actually can help us get our things off the ground and be able to launch. We're sometimes too afraid because it's like, oh, our credit, or oh, the personal experiences, or oh, our background. So that can stop us in our tracks and hold us up from making our dreams an actual reality, because we're so focused on, the minute details that we're just at a standstill, and that's not a good look as well, because you're just like in limbo mode, like it will work, it won't work. And you have to get out of the mindset of it won't work and just take that risk. If it didn't work, we learn from it and we move on. Now we know what it looks like. Now we know what it feels like. Now we understand that, okay, I do have the resources, I do have the funding, but now I need the confidence to ask, and ask. There's never anything wrong with asking. Okay, so I'm gonna let you marinate on that as well. And then I'm gonna shift gears a little bit and let's go into the last scenario, and then we'll go ahead and get this wrapped up, and I will let you know all of my goods at the end of this little video. So as we're shifting our mindset from the first woman who didn't necessarily know, what idea or what she wanted to do with her business, and then also pivoted into the second woman where she she has the funding, but she's scared to ask for more. She's scared to ask, and negotiate from the investors and the side of, am I willing to go forth the extra step to do this, to actually get my cosmetics line to launch? Let's go into scenario number 3. And this is where it's near and dear to my heart. So this young woman, she has a concrete idea, the startup cost, the vision, the plan, the support, the feedback, and ambition to have a business, right? But she lacks the ability to cultivate and nurture a thriving business. Therefore, she wants to maintain an image, and give false authenticity of her brand, and not see the impact of her business and how it could truly empower others to sustain their projects over a long period of time. So let's unpack that a little bit. Now, in our eyes on social media, we look at a lot of different things. That this woman has the idea, the funds, the vision, the plan, the emotional support, the financial support, the feedback, the ambition to really keep thriving. But this particular woman is doing it for an image. She's doing it for the wrong reasons. That way, when something does arise, when she's, up against certain challenges in her personal and her business life, she's more likely to sit back and not create a plan of action to say, how can we get through this? So again, in order to go up, you must go through. In order to succeed, you must fail. And a lot of the times in these industries, a lot of women do not want to fail first, fail forward, fail now, be humiliated, be, gossiped about, be in a place where you're very vulnerable in your personal and business life, to the point where it's like, I'll do away with this business, because I've been there personally myself as well. And in order to get over those specific obstacles, you got to look at those obstacles as opportunities. So let's look at the multiple choice again. I don't know where to start. I don't know how to start. And I don't have the sufficient amount of funds to start. So this woman is cultivating her whole personal life and defining it as in 4 specific journeys that I like to look at, which is, there's a difference in who you are, there's a difference in what you do, there's a difference in what you're going through, and there's a difference in where you're going, right? So when you clearly define who you are, you stand on your values, you stand on your mission, you stand on your womanhood, you stand on who you are as a person, right, wrong, indifferent, are able to accept your mistakes, are able to accept your failures, are able to really dive in and do that inner work that a lot of people are afraid to do the type of work where you're alone most of the time, because it takes a lot of mental mindset shifts, and it takes a lot of capacity to keep going. It takes a lot of endurance, patience, perseverance to fail, to try again, to succeed, to overcome these hardships financially, personally, legally, all the way around, right? So again, a lot of the times you have to go back to step 1, which is your why. Why are you doing this? Why did you get into business? And again, overall, like I said, I want you to remember to tie it back to your mission and core values, because it's going to help you in the long term when you are facing adversity, when you are facing different trials, when it feels like your back is up against the wall. These are the moments you're going to remember, is because this is why I started this business. This is how I started this business. This is the people I impacted. This is the people that I helped. That's going to help you keep going. That's going to help you remember those specific driving factors to sustain your business. And then when it's time to delegate and say, okay, I want to pivot and move on to something else, you have put in an agreement, you have put it in writing and documentation that I want this person to have my business. I'm going to sell it to this person. I'm going to do this. And that's the most important thing, is to have a plan. And to, if A, B, and C happens, I know that I can pivot and do something else. I know that I've made an impact. I know that I've used my voice. I know that I have done everything that I can do. And it's time to move on to some greater and different things in a different way. Again, so there you have it. that is what I wanted to talk to you about today. Um, we've talked about the shoulds, we've talked about the should nots, and different sample scenarios on how to stand out in your industry, which basically enhances your chance at new opportunities. Now you know what to do, but are you ready to reset and take it to the next level in your journey? If you are looking for someone to hold you accountable and guide you in that process, go ahead and go over to inherwork.co. It's streaming right now across the bottom of the screen. And go ahead and get your VIP session scheduled so that way we can get you reset and showing up unapologetically as your best self. I want to end this on a high and, you know, great energy level. And if you have any additional questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you and have a great evening.